Big bottoms need support. Drawer support, that is. Let me show you how we made it. Hello and welcome to the Lost Pines Workshop. I'm JC Jensen. So this is Build a Classic Dresser, episode 19. Drawer bottom dividers, aka bottom supports. In this episode, I'm simply going to show you how to size and cut this bottom dividers / support and install these bottom panels for our 4 large drawers. Remembering that these are 35.5 inches wide. A 1/4 inch thick panel on its own is not going to be enough. It's going to want to sag here in the middle and get enough weight in there it could fall out. Right? We don't want that. So we're going to split these panels in half, install this divider / support so that this panel is now the same size as this one, and it by itself is strong, right? Same for both sides. So we're going to dive into that and I'll show you how this is made. All right, so how do we figure out the drawer center divider? Well, I know that the bottom groove for the drawer bottom is 3/8 of an inch up from the bottom. When we cut these, we cut them 1/4 inch deep and 1/4 inch wide. So I took a piece of scrap and wrong end. On the end, right? I just made the nice tongue and groove method here. I made a tongue using 1/4 inch depth and 1/4 inch back set. That centers it on a 3/4 inch piece of scrap. All right, then I laid it in here, set it in the groove, roughly in the center, held it up tight to the drawer bottom or the back, and simply scribe a line across the back edge. That's going to give me the perfect length, right? No harm. All good. So with that figured out, I'll just simply measure that. I'm going to use this cutoff piece from when we were doing panels. The width is kind of immaterial. I would say the minimum width would be 1.5 inches. This is actually 1 5/8 inches. I'm not going to change it, but I did mill it down to 3/4 of an inch thick. That way, as it sits in here, because it's nosing into the drawer front in the drawer bottom slot. It leaves plenty of clearance below, so it's not going to be dragging on the case. Right on. So I will just take this, cut these to length. Just going to mark here using my template here. Just make a mark from either end for the length. Cut those off with the chop saw, and then we'll hit the router. So the setup here on my router table is pretty straightforward, right? The width of my bit is 1/4 inch, so I've got the back of the fence set to 0 and 1/4 inch height. Now we just simply take the tongue end, place it into the groove, kind of roughly the center of the drawer, the top, right? We cut the length already with that scribe line. So now all I got to do, scribe again to the inside of the drawer, making sure I'm not putting any pressure on it. Scribe the inside. All right, so what we're going to do now, we'll reset the table, the router table, and basically create a rabbet like so. That will be, again, 1/4 of an inch deep this way. So we'll be taking this off so that it will flush up to the bottom of our case. And this bottom edge of the drawer back is parallel to the top edge of our groove on the bottom. All right, so we just create that rabbet, and I'll do this. I'll make the first pass where it's currently set, and then I'll just, slide the fence back to finish it off to get the depth. You're gonna, whatever the depth is, it's just going to be the thickness of your back. Mine happens to be 5/8, so I'll increment it back till I hit the 5/8. Now with that, we have a perfect fit. All right, so we will, when this is installed, I'll just utilize 2 screws. Right, as I'm screwing the bottom panels in, we'll add 2 screws to this. No glue, just let it float here in the front, because this will expand and contract this way. All right, so we're going to let that float down in the groove. So next, to accommodate the panel, we now have to put that 1/4 inch groove along the entire length of both sides. All right, that's going to be a 0 clearance because we're screwing our panel to this bottom edge. So we're simply going to take a 1/4 inch groove all the way down both sides. Again, at the router table. That's the easy way. So there you go. All right, so we have the groove down one, both sides. So now all we have to do is simply set it in here. And there we go. It's ready to accept the bottom panels. So I'm not going to attach this yet, but what I did do was find the center, mark the center line here and on the bottom, as well as the center line, mark the center line where these are. So I can line these up. That way, I can use that as the reference for calculating the width of each of these panel sections. Whoops. So I'm simply going to line up my marks here. Oh, you can't see. There we go. Simply lining up my marks and then taking my pencil right here on the back of the drawer and just making a tick mark with my center lines lined up with the groove, where the groove intersects the back. All right. Now all I've got to do is measure from here to the bottom of the groove on the end for my width. And let's see, it's burn an inch. And to my tick mark is 17 7/8. This should be the same. Oh, I burned an inch, so that's 16 7/8. How about that for perfect? 16 7/8. Burned an inch, 16 7/8. That is exactly the same width as my the top 2 small drawer panels. All right, so 16 7/8. Now, I am, because of expansion and contraction, right, I said this is going to potentially swell, although I'm pretty confident that all my material right now is at its maximum. because it is just humid here right now. Anyhow, I am going to leave 1/16. I'm going to cut the width of this 1/16 short of my measurement, just to give it a little play in case this does want to move. All right, that 1/16, I've got 1/4 of an inch on either side, so it's not gonna, if this shrinks, the bottom's still gonna be secure. Groovy? All right, so that's done. 16 7/8. So minus a 16th. And then I've already got my front to back, which is 16 5/16. So you cut the panels. Whoop, in the right direction. Slide it in. That was funny. So a little tight. All right, I'm going to take a smidgen off of this one. I didn't clean out the groove. Okay, with the panels properly fit, everything's in place, we're ready to screw it in. The only difference here, so in the panel itself, screwing the panels, I'm simply using a number 8 by 3/4 wood screw, just like I did before, right, for the panels. They're 3/4 of an inch long. For this center support, or the bottom support, whatever you want to call it, I'm using a 1-inch screw. It'll give me the same penetration into the drawer back. I've got everything lined up. I'm centered here, centered on the front. Very carefully. I'm just kind of splitting the difference here between my center line and the edge of the groove. I'll go ahead and set this one. Maybe. Careful not to over tighten. We're really close to the end of the board here. Split it out. All right, same over here. 1 screw in this would probably be sufficient, but hey. In my world, 2 is 1. If you know what I'm referring to in that comment, feel free to let me know. And there we go. All right, so that's not going anywhere. Not now, not ever. All right, so I'm going to do same. These are the same size as that individual. So I'll put 5 screws here and 5 screws here, and these larger drawers are good to go.